Thank you.
First off, I just started passing around a written statement of background information that I think might be useful for everybody to have, and it was just easier to put it in writing and pass it around. I was the operations manager for Ready on the River 2006. I have been the agency liaison for the event for the past 15 years. By the way, I'm reading because we have a time limit and I didn't want to get all over the place. I also happen to be an attorney. I have always considered the event to be my client. In that way, I would focus my efforts on the good of the event rather than one particular client or entity. Unfortunately, last year, the Mateel board forced me to declare a representation of one entity or another. I could no longer just say, I represent the good of the event. At that time, I agreed to represent People Productions as the producer of the event. By the way, it's People Productions. I am not People Productions' lawyer currently. I do not intend to be. However, I do have experience in dealing with the legal issues between People Productions, Mateel, landowners that lease property to the event, and all of the permitting and other agencies. Regardless of what has happened or what will happen, I will no longer be working for the event. I've told Carol this many months ago. It's a decision mostly based on my need to fulfill a promise to my husband, and partly because I've begun to devote my efforts to my law practice and to another social endeavor called the Connectivity Project that I have started. It has nothing to do with the events of the past few weeks, although I must be honest that I'm glad to not have to participate in any of the attacks by various people and entities. Nonetheless, I still do care about the event. I have absolutely nothing to gain or lose financially from the event going forward. I do, however, have a personal interest in the years that I've spent trying to ensure that from the eyes of the agencies that are involved in permitting the event is in good standing. I'm proud that I've played a part in securing the event's future with respect to the permit and agencies. This is the first year in my 15 years of working with the event that all agencies and all other relevant stakeholders, like neighbors, were completely satisfied with the event and have made a point of letting me know what a fantastic job everyone did. I do fear that the current allegations and disputes are jeopardizing the good standing that the event holds, particularly since it is being played out in the media, with all due respect to the media, and certainly right on for full disclosure. I'm handing out a handout with some background information that may be of interest to the community. I believe that disclosure of this information is important for the membership to consider when deciding what should happen at this juncture. In short, the Mateel is currently spending money on an audit from 2005 to pursue allegations of impropriety against people. It is my interpretation of the contract that existed at that time, which I did not draft, that such an audit of that year is no longer proper. Basically, I believe that the audit is no longer within the 120 days that that contract said it should be. Next, I know that the Mateel was offered on 3 separate occasions ways to secure a guarantee and an option to shift the financial risk of production from the Mateel. Each time the Mateel declined. Contrary to what Garth wrote in the paper, the first offer did not require Mateel to pay people legal fees, but rather part of the offer was that Mateel had to pay the legal fees to transfer the title of the leases the Mateel holds for the event into the proposed licensee's name. People was going to pay its own legal fees for whatever negotiations and drafting of the licensing agreement. Also contrary to Garth's written contention that there was no long-term protection for the Mateel as to its trademark, I would point out the language in the offer, which is in the handout, that states, and I quote, number 10, Mateel is guaranteed that the ownership of the trade name, etc., is still with them, but they are granting people the right to use it for purposes of promoting and producing the event. There are many other things to contradict, such as the timing of this offer. That original offer was in April of 2006. But the reality is it was an offer, and the Mateel, in the face of specific information from people that it might not make money on Ready on the River, did not even bother to counter the offer. What is sad is that since that time, the Mateel has been presented with 2 additional offers, and has not countered or accepted either. A few other points. In addition to pursuing the 2005 audit at this late juncture, and in my opinion outside the terms of the contract was in place at the time, the Mateel has served people with notice of its instigating formal dispute resolution procedures under the current contract. This was after people and another party offered to license the event and after the Mateel had issued its first round of statements in the press. Since then, after a request from people to clarify what issues were in dispute, the Mateel has formally accused people of wrongdoing. It is absurd, in my opinion, that prior to all of the media releases and prior to formal dispute resolution processes, and this is from a lawyer, that the Mateel did not try to sit down with people to discuss any of it. In fact, it is my understanding that people's repeated requests for meetings with the Mateel board had been denied and that those that were granted were delayed. That is some of the background and context that I wanted to share. As I see it, now that the formal dispute resolution processes have been initiated, it is difficult for both parties to openly discuss with the public all aspects of the disputes. I also believe that there are extremely pressing matters to be dealt with that compromise the open dialogue that should go forward. Specifically, the final reports to the county must be submitted to the county by December 31st. This is not a small task. I believe that the disputes at issue directly impact those reports. Additionally, the seed money for next year needs to be obtained. Last year, since the Mateel did not have it, people arranged for it. Additionally, the actual work of Red Island River 2007 needs to begin. Although last year was pulled off, there is a tremendous amount of work to do to not only pull it off this year, but to make it more profitable regardless of who does it. The longer decisions of who will do it and how it's going to be done or put off, the more costly it will be to produce. Unfortunately, the luxury of a thoughtful communication process regarding issues that community members want to address may not be able to happen without impacting the ability to put the event on this year. As I see it, the issues that should be decided are, is ensuring the event actually happens in 2007 more important than anything else because of the fact that the funding it provides to various nonprofits cannot be interrupted without dire consequences. If so, then the immediate efforts to ensure the event's production must be undertaken without delay. The quickest way to accomplish this is for the Mateel to accept a guarantee and license or sell the event to people or any other third party that has the capability to actually pull it off. Is the pursuit of allegations of wrongdoing going to jeopardize the ability to accomplish some of the needs for the event to happen in 2000? This is really an important one. Is the pursuit of allegations of wrongdoing going to jeopardize, even inadvertently, the ability to accomplish some immediate needs for the event to happen in 2007? If so, then perhaps an agreement as to what is properly pursued and what is not pursued because of the jeopardy to the event should be considered and made. As I see it, there are two separate things that need to be considered. Why in the world would people do any work at this juncture given its need to defend itself against all kinds of allegations? If people doesn't do it, who can? And who can ensure that both the permitting work and the actual production will actually be accomplished in the time frame given? Even if people were to agree to do the permit wrap-up, there are other ways in which the pursuit of formal pre-litigation processes unnecessarily jeopardize the production of the event for 2007. Personally, I think everybody should take a year off. It would allow for a thoughtful analysis on how to proceed. However, it would absolutely have a catastrophic impact, not only on the nonprofit's ability to make money, but could also jeopardize the ability for the event to hold its customer base. There are a lot of other festivals that would love to take that date. Reggae on the River is only going to get more expensive. Personally, I think people is crazy for having offered the guarantee. I don't think that the event has the ability to be as profitable, no matter who does it, if it is done in a way that preserves the community goals instead of a business formula. A true business formula would exclude nonprofits and make money off of for-profits and would not utilize volunteers. I know that that's not what the community wants. So is the expectation realistic? Thank you for the years of allowing me to participate in Reggae on the River. It's always been my goal to act with integrity and for the benefit of the community. The divisiveness of this board has left me with a sad and bitter taste. that the treasures I've received through working with all of the individuals who have given their heart and soul have and will continue to warm my heart with the kind of love and unity I know can exist in this community.